everybody, I'm Jonathan Randall, and welcome to another episode of How You Like Me Now. Hope everybody is having a nice fall. Thankfully, the sun came out here in New York City this week because it rained for like more than a week straight. You may have seen videos of the flooding in New York, but I assure you, you only saw the most dramatic instances. And in most areas, it was just raining a lot. I feel like every single person that lived in New York City got a frantic call from their mother freaking out, thinking that Noah's flood was happening here. My mom actually sent me a life jacket. That's how concerned she was, just in case, and some of those floaties. That's one reason I totally realize that the news is really just interested in fear-mongering. Because the way they portray New York City a lot of the times is really how things are here. And they only show the absolute worst instances, which lead people to have a false perception of what's really happening. So I had an acting gig yesterday. Nothing good, just like a glorified extra, basically. And while I did feel like I was totally above this gig, I am trying to work more, network, and just like put myself out there. So I sucked it up and accepted this gig. I woke up early. I got to site. But sadly, when I arrived, I realized that it was an Israeli company whose ad I was going to be in. I was like, fuck my life. What the hell? I really have to start doing better research about the gigs I accept. I was like, what do I do right now? Should I just leave? Should I cause a scene? Should I curse everybody out? Should I try to get all the other actors to quit and leave with me in some sort of pro-Palestinian Jerry Maguire moment? Like, I kind of shut down a little bit when I got there. I was so uncomfortable. A lot of the other actors were trying to like introduce themselves and talk to me, and I was just like in my head not having it. Now, I used to do way more acting gigs, but I've been thinking that like the more I speak out against Israel's crimes, the less I've been being cast. So that was also like one of the reasons why I accepted this shitty gig. Now I'm there. I'm feeling like I'm a complete sellout if I do this gig, but I still need to pay rent. And I'm an actor. Besides, isn't what a video for an Israeli company really needs is a Palestinian supporter? And I also thought, hey, this will be a great opportunity for me to educate all the other actors about the violations of Palestinian human rights. Then they gave me my wardrobe, and it had like this patch on it that was like an Israeli Air Force symbol or something. And I was like, hell no, there's no way I'm wearing this. And I ripped the patch right off. Thankfully, nobody noticed, and I did the whole shoot without wearing that stupid patch. Most of the shoot was just kind of like drone footage, so I was more of just like a body there. I don't think that like I'll really be seen or anybody will be able to recognize me from this video. But just in case, every time the drone flew by me, I mouthed "Free Palestine." I was like, which I think is what every video that has anything to do with Israel really needs, somebody mouthing. So I think I actually made the video better, and I was the representation that it needs. And you know what else? I'm happy to take their money. You know, one of the biggest myths about the creation of Israel is that the Palestinians just got up and left on their own after being instructed to do so by Arab leaders. This piece of Israeli propaganda is so strong that despite it being proven false time and time again, people still believe it as fact and are willing to die on a cross about it. And that was Ben-Gurion's plan. He knew that Palestinians being expelled from their land meant that their right of return would be justified. But if they just got up and left on their own, well, then not so much. So that's the story he tried to tell. The truth is that only in a handful of cases did Palestinians leave after being told to do so by their leaders. And in the majority of cases, senior commanders of Israeli forces ordered Palestinians to be expelled from their homes and then their homes be destroyed, something Israel actively tried to cover up. Ben-Gurion actually commissioned a report where the findings needed to say that the Palestinians left on their own. And when he received the report back and it said otherwise, he just ordered someone else to write the report with the results he wanted. Thankfully, The truth has been exposed, and now most historians, both Israeli and not, agree that Israeli forces expelled hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their homes in 1948 and then banned them from returning after the war. Now, according to Israeli historian and Zionist Benny Morris, who is one of the few journalists that got access to Israeli archives and revealed his findings in his book, The Birth of the Palestinian Refugee Problem, out of 369 Palestinian towns and villages, 228 of them left after they were attacked by Zionist forces. 41 of them were actually totally expelled by Zionist forces. In 90 of them, the Palestinians left in a state of panic after hearing what happened in other villages around them. They didn't leave under orders from their leaders. They did so out of fear of Israeli attacks after hearing about massacres taking place, like in Deir Yassin, where over 250 Palestinians were violently murdered. Morris found only 6 cases where people left after being instructed to do so by Arab leaders. That's right, 6 cases. And through lies and propaganda that were blown so far out of proportion, this is what people think happened. When the majority of the 750,000 Palestinians who became refugees during Israel's creation did so because they were expelled by forces. There's a quote in his book: "There is no evidence to show that the Arab states and the AHC wanted a mass exodus or issued blanket orders or appeals to the Palestinians to flee their homes." Morris, a self-proclaimed Zionist, he wrote that on the contrary, that Arab leaders threatened anyone who left with severe punishment, and that tales of broadcasts on Arab radio stations instructing them to leave were just invented for pure propaganda. The reality is that the majority of Palestinians were forced from their homes violently by Israeli forces. Some left out of fear after hearing what happened in other villages, and only in extremely rare occasions did they leave because of orders by Arab leaders. If you believe anything other than that, it's only because you've been lied to and you can't accept the truth. Your blind allegiance to Israel isn't about Judaism. It's about being brainwashed. Spreading lies not only doesn't help Israel, but it reflects poorly on Jews everywhere. Free Palestine, because Palestinian trauma is real, and denying it and the events that caused it is wrong. If you're not following me on social media, please do, at Jonathan Randall on all platforms. Also, I'd really appreciate your support on my Ko-fi page. I'll put the link to that in the description. Please check out the latest interviews on American Jew, the interview, one with Sammy from If Not Now, that's available now, and one with Julia Basha that'll be coming out soon. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm Jonathan Randall. How you like me now?